learn the software, but you stick at it, this is going to make you a competent miner, a miner who's ready to improve and better prospect. Because when you know where the hot spots are, then you will get the coordinates of the hot spots from the computer. Then you can put those coordinates into your GPS, and then you go and find them. Is that so? And then you go and check it with your Mattel, and then you might do a pit, a trench, or something, and you prospect the area. And from that, you might end up turning into something good for you. Okay? That's the procedure that we want to inculcate into you. We want to inculcate the skills, develop the skills, so that you can be able to use the products. Okay? That's primarily the main focus of the intermediate level training program. In addition to that, there will be a presentation on the health and safety, occupational health and safety requirements at placer mine, at small scale mines, small and medium scale mines.
Sure, this thing is too cool.
Alright, you can turn it off. I realize we're not in the foreign lands. Alright? Help it with the AC, then make it a little warm. Alright? Now, so, in addition to that, we will have some content that deals with occupational health and safety. Outside of that, we will also have some content that looks at how you can plan a prospecting program. You know, let's say you want to now prospect your land, and you have a map showing you the creeks and so on. You want to know where to put it, go and take your samples. You will do something like that on the computer and make a little map with the coordinates, and you will see, well, here, here, and here will be points. I'm going to go on Batel, okay? And you will know the coordinates from the computer, and you'll be able to go. So you'll make a little map for yourself on the computer and be able to use it for the purpose of prospecting your own property, okay? Good. At the advanced level, and in addition to that, we'll be looking at determining the goal content of these mining operations. What do I mean by that? I will explain to you certain concepts that gold, particularly gold and other elements, are reported in. Gold, they're reported in parts per million, grams per ton, or parts per billion. These are three terms you're going to have to get familiar with if you want to start to become modern. Parts per million, grams per ton, and parts per billion. And we will explain those little concepts and then show you how, if I got a small drudge, right, a 4-inch or 6-inch, or 2 6-inch, or 3 6-inch, and this is my pit, 200 feet by 150 feet, and my gravel layer is 2 feet or 3 feet or 6 feet or 8 feet. And when I take a sample of my gravel layer and I battle it down and I see how much gold is in it, and I get to see, well, it is so much grams per ton based on the test, right? How much ounces of gold can you predict you will get from a pit? That is, let's say the facing is 100 feet by, let me say, 40 feet. Let's say you progress, you take out 100 feet width and you go forward by 40 feet. Maybe you do that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, right? How much gold just a little estimate you're trying to come up with that you might get from that piece of land. And then you can compare it with your actual production. So when you actually produce and you wash down, you might find you get 15 ounces or 20 ounces, but your production, your calculation says, 16 ounces. You're off on that too much. Okay? So I will show you basic, it's nothing rocket science, pretty straightforward. Once you could read coordinates, you can do that. Okay? And that would basically be our focus at the intermediate level. At the advanced level, which will start on the 21st, we will put everything we've done into practice. Meaning to say, we will take our GPS, we'll take our maps, we'll take our computer data of Madhya. By that time, you will be at a different level. Okay? You wouldn't be at the level at which you're sitting looking at me like, I wonder if I could know this man talking about. Yes, you will. Alright? At that time, you will find you now, comfortably putting on a laptop, firing up a software, opening up the program, pulling up the data, moving and picking out the coordinates. You see what I mean? Picking up a GPS and putting it. It's like nothing. Okay? And then you going now out in the bush now, after you would have signed for the government equipment, and you will then go and find these points, these locations within the Mali area, okay, that were sampled before. Some have very good values, high values. Always good to check back what was there 5 years ago. See what I mean? If you notice, people today are working in locations that people worked 5 years ago. You, for example, working where Ramdat used to be. Not far from them. Right? Right? So, you have reworking of areas, you have people working. A man might be working here today, and he leave this area right next door. 5 years from now, another man come and open a big area. You understand? Why is it that this man who was working here never had the foresight to investigate this just 100 meters away from him? What was happening? Maybe it was somebody else's claim, okay, but then somebody else came and negotiated with this claim holder. Why you didn't have the foresight to do that? See what I'm saying? And that is what is happening. Okay? So you will be given practicals where you will go out in the fields with your GPS, with your maps, with your cutlass, your insect repellent, your long boots, your batel, and you will go and you will find gold. Okay? Once it is in the ground. If it's not there, you can't do nothing but it. And you will investigate these hot spots. What is the status of it now? Is it totally worked up? Is it worked up, but then there's somebody still around the area trying to catch back an edge? All this is intelligence you can build and guide you. See, what you're doing now is a full training that guides you, gives you insight as to what is happening on the ground. You might see a man trying to catch some edge in an area, but you never know why is it that this man just trying to pull out the edge around. Maybe the edge is very hot. Okay? When you check on the map, you see that the edge, the sample point here was, considerably high gold values. So therefore the whole area, although it was worked out, might have pockets of material still left, but that it is economical for man to just go pull out the edge and still get paid. Work tailings, but catch the edge and still get something out of it. Okay? So you'll get that insight. It's practical. And the primary focus at the advanced level is pit stability and mine pit safety. For many reasons, we have had cases where miners are getting covered down with pits. Mine pits are too high. There's no adequate bench. It's a technical area, but it can be explained in simple ways to you. And that is what I will do. And I will use pictures. A lot of pictures of real mine sites, okay? And videos. We have drone footage of model mining sites. For example, we'll show you what your mine site should be like. Okay? And then I will show you what your mine site should not be like. And I'll identify all the faults in the video or in the picture. And you will see the faults too. And that will be the way in which we will have a discussion and interaction on mine pit safety, so that it will be in your head through practice as if you were in the field, because picture brings the field into the classroom. Okay? You will see that if you see a crack in the wall, it's not just a crack, it's danger. Some people walk into the edge of a pit and they see a crack, and they might even walk right by the crack, because as far as they're concerned, it's just nothing. They don't even know what it means. It means that the land could break further and everybody who might be close to the wall could get covered down. That's how serious it can mean. So what does cracks mean? You might see water seeping out of the mine face, right? Like if it's a spring. You might find that, especially now, while this rain falling now, this is the perfect time for us to go out there and check on these. Now is the perfect time to go out there and check on these sites, because you'll find that excuse me. You'll find that there will be a lot of places where, due to this heavy rainfall, this rain started falling about 4 days now. It's not so. About a week now. Yeah. And it doesn't be like this every day. This is what creates danger. This condition that we're having right now is what creates mine pits to crumble, slope, slip, slide. And if you don't understand what is happening, you might be losing your life. So that will be the first thing I will start this lesson with. Okay? I will show you bad examples and good examples of mine sites. And I will also show to you what are the factors you need to bear in mind. So that by the time you leave here tonight, it must register your mind that, you know what, let me go and check my pit. Okay? Some basic guidelines. How far can you hold a jet engine? A jet, let me say use a jet man. The hose, the dark key, and jet you're facing. How far away from the facing you could stand up? And the water will catch the facing. How far away? The farthest away then. What is the farthest distance? Give me an average. Tell me what you will use and how far you could stand up. 15 feet. You could stand up 60 feet with you that.
No, listen to me. You could stand up here with your jet back in and you could.
You know how far is 60 feet? From this wall to this wall is how much feet?
Pardon?
From the wall there, by the door, to this wall there is how much feet in your mind?
46. 46.
Don't tell me 60.
It depends on the land you're working to. If the land is starving, so the land is starving for therefore over 100 feet with pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
Huh?
If the land is soft, I could carry around and stand on it, you could have from 100 feet down for it to accelerate pressure into it.
Right. So what I'm saying
Depends
is
on the
that
land you're working.
this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to make a simple point. Your donkey and your hose, the pressure coming out of this hose, your maximum distance is about 30 feet you could stand up with this jet. I would like to come into your pit and see you stand up at 60 feet. I would like to see that tomorrow morning.
Depends, as you say, right? You ask
Vinod, how far away them all stand up with you think?
I don't walk well.
You don't walk wall, you just bump up and do up from there, fair enough. But I'm talking about when you're working wall, okay? Or even when you're bumping up. How far you guys left on the bump? Them answer right there.
Yeah, 5 feet there.
I'm asking you, who will stand up 60 feet from any bump? Raise your hand.
Raise my hand.
You will stand up 60 feet. Which part is operating?
20 years experience in mind. This is no.
There's a
Where are you operating right now? White Stone? You're doing it right now?
No, not right now.
Alright. Anybody else?
That's what I mentioned. It's according to what area you're working. How type of land is hard, you got to be close to the land because the pressure wouldn't be penetrating, you know.
Right.
But if you carry around the sun, it's just a rainfall and all will bring the land down.
Okay, I got your point. Let's agree. Well, let me work with the point there. Let me say it's not running sun because really and truly, you don't even want to be close next to running sun. It's not so. Because if we're running catch you, it's not so. So let us put running sun away and let's talk about the normal saprolite or the gravel that you will work. About 30 feet is the maximum distance that you will stand. That the hose, the pressure could even make any impact on the land. Beyond that, it can't work. So you got to either be 30 feet, 29 feet, 28, 27, 26, right down to about 5 feet. And you can work. You understand what I'm saying? Good. So if your maximum distance is about 25 to 30 feet, for a normal case situation, not running sand, you understand what I'm saying? Then what height of land you must be looking at? This is the point I'm trying to bring out to you. If I have to stand up 5 feet from a wall, then my wall height must not be 5 feet. I must stand up 1.5 the distance of the height of the wall from the wall. So if my wall height is 10 feet, I have to stand up 1.5 of 10, which is 15. Now you shake your head, so you shake your head. There's how people is dead.
No, there's always dead. If you're not dead man, people don't know this one, they kill themselves.
Chief, let me explain something to you, right? We're not debating this requirement. This is the law. And if we come and we find you standing up less than 1.5 times the height of the wall, we will shut your operation down. It's not a gap. It's not a debate. It's not about who is not a good jet man or and who understand himself and who are agile enough. No. All those factors have been nullified now. We make a recommendation to the Gold and Diamond Association, and they have agreed that all jetmen must stand up 1.5 times the height of the wall. So if you got a wall that is 30 feet high, that means you got to be standing up how far away? 45 feet. That means it's impossible for you to stand up 45 feet because your jet can't do nothing there. You understand you see the point I'm making? Your jet can't reach 45 feet to the face. The water pressure will not reach there. That is why you must never have a wall that is 30 feet high. Because if it is 30 feet high, then you're forcing the jet mat to be 45 feet away from the wall. And if you have forced the jet mat to be 45 feet away from the wall, you're making no sense. Because if we come and catch you at 30 feet, and your wall is 30 feet, we will close it up. Because it's unsafe. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? That is why, whenever you bench, especially if you work in the face, okay? You bench so that the bench does not exceed 15 feet. Because what is 1.5 times 15? 22 to 23 feet, which is within the reasonable range of the jet, almost bordering the maximum distance. So I will say a comfortable bench height is a 15 feet bench. Because with a 15 feet bench, you can stand up about 25 feet or 23 feet away from the wall and still get to do your work. And you'll be safe in case that wall collapses, okay? And you will be still getting to break the wall and get your material to go your Morocco, okay? Now, why I mentioned that is because that has been one of the main reasons why people get covered up. It's always the wall covering on people who are close to the bench. You understand what I'm saying? Are close to the face in. They'll try running and they didn't run fast enough and they get caught. Because in the first case they were too close to the wall. Am I clear? You have to start up 1.5 feet, 1.5 times the height. Now that is not hard and fast to see. Well, if you start up 1.5 times, that maybe you can't get covered down. We have cases where the wall, the material moved 150 feet, 200 feet, okay, and the height was just about 90 feet of wall, right? And people die with that. So whilst these are recommendations, they're not to say that when you follow these recommendations, things may not happen. Because ultimately, how far material will move is depending on how soggy the land is and what type of material it is, if it's clay or if it's sandy or whatever it is, okay? So that is some of the things we will be looking at, all right? Bench heights, bench width. What we talking about bench width? So when you got your face in, the height of your face in, then you gotta get a flat. That flat is the bench width. That also must be 1.5 times the height of the bench. Alright? So the bench width must be 1.5 times the bench height. So if you got a 10 feet, then you have to have 15 feet. 10 feet up, 15 feet. Okay? Am I clear? What that does, it allows material, if it fails from one bench, to be trapped on the flat of the next. And then you could bring your excavator and clean up the bench afterward, instead of it running right down to the bottom. These are things you have to do. These are not things we asking you to do. If you put those phones on silent, yeah, thanks. Alright? So, that is some of the things we gotta do. These are little things that have been repeating itself for too long and has been responsible for people dying. Another thing that happens that people die with is working in tailings. Oh my, this is the most brutal and sad one that I ever seen in my whole life. Okay, so let me ask you the question. You're working in the tailings, white sand in St. Elizabeth. What is the biggest, the height of the bench or the facing you should have? Maximum. You know, it's a top, what is it? Yeah, you me gaffing.
No, I didn't really check you.
Alright, so tell me what you think?
Yeah.
If you want to
you got a shelf here, we reason shelf and things like that.
what do you think? 15 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet?
Well, it depends on how big is out where you even though we really feel and how are we working.
Alright, based on the fact that we said that if you got a normal material like gravel, glaze, it was really more than 15 feet. What do you think should be for tailings? What should be safe for tailings? Because tailings is like what Mobile was talking about, running sand.
Not all tailings.
Right, I got
tailings.
You got dry tailings, you got buried for move.
Let me explain something to you. Tailings sand we're talking about.
Yes.
And what we're talking about is the tailings sand that is in Whitehall. Okay? When the sun is hot and the place is dry, you're right, they are begging for move. Okay? But right now, it has been raining for the past week. What happens with sand is that sand has a lot of pore space, a lot of space between the sand grains or the gravel grains. And so it absorbs a lot of water. You know what I'm telling you? So the sand wouldn't even move, it just keeps absorbing. So rainfall tonight is like a sponge. You know, sponge got a lot of space inside the sponge structure, the lattice structure, the sponge. So it keeps absorbing. You could throw a couple cups of water on a sponge mattress and nothing will come through the bed till it reaches the floor. Isn't that so? Similarly, sand, tailings sand, like what you get in Whitehall, that's what I'm talking about, has that similar property. It will absorb a lot of water without moving. However, you may have a week of rain going into 2 weeks of rain. And on its own, what you might find happening is that as the sand starts to get more heavy, get more water, it becomes heavier. And therefore it will start to break on its own weight. You know what I tell you? Like a cake, it starts developing cracks. So that's the first thing you will see around the edge of a pit, a tailings pit. Cracks developing in the sand material. What happens is the running sand effect when you start to jet the material. You understand? The material was standing up because sand stands up on a natural angle called its angle of repose. If you throw some sand in a bucket on the ground, it will always form like a little 30 to 35 degrees angle. Just check it. Get some loose sand, put it in a bucket, and turn it down and raise it up. Okay? And you see the sand will just move on and form a natural angle on itself. Okay? Or if you take some sand on a smooth sheet of zinc and you throw the sand down the zinc, okay? Like when you're piling up sugar, and you're making a mountain of sugar, try making a mountain of sand and then measure the angle. You'll see we get a nice 30 to 35, 40 degrees angle. That's the natural angle that sand does make. It will always try to form itself. The grains of sand will form itself so that it maintains the angle. Okay? You might pit facing, don't be 30 to 35 degrees angle. It must be straight. That's the first thing that is bad. You understand? That means you're creating instability in the sand. The sand can't, you don't ever pour sand and see sand stand up straight. You understand what I'm saying? So once you see that you don't form on sand forming straight down, it means that it will move. And it will move so that it will form an angle. Check in Whitehall. All them sand when they fall down, you don't see it form a little angle coming down through the cone. That's the natural angle of sand. Okay? See what I'm saying to you? You see it. You see the wall cave. And then you see a nice little cone of sand, like a funnel shaped something, form. That is the natural angle of sand. Now what I'm trying to say to you is that when rain falls, sand will absorb water. Okay? Now you as the miner want to continue to mine in this period. What do? There are several things that happen that you need to understand. First, when rain falls, what does happen to your pit? It does flood. Consider what happens when a pit floods. Do you know what happens? When a pit floods, it's like, imagine you got a sponge mattress and you make a hole in this sponge and you put it out in the rain. This rainfall and the sponge soaks so much that water starts full up in the hole. You understand what I'm trying to say to you now? So the sponge soak, and the hole start get water. Am I making myself clear?
Yes.
You as the miner, what does God do? Yeah. Bail out the pit. You put an engine, you put your hole, and you drain out the water. But when you drain out the water out of the sponge, what happened to the sponge? The sponge just drain out. The sponge still soak. But what has happened? It's like if you start sucking out the water out of the hole, you're going to start sucking some of the water closer to the hole from the sponge, isn't that so? So you start creating a pull effect in the sponge closer to the rim of the hole. It's a force you're creating there, that pull force. You see how it starts? So when you start bailing your pit, you start creating forces in the surrounding wall of your pit. You're creating unstable forces. Let me put it simply as that. But you might know, because all you're doing is bailing out your pit. But you realize that this water didn't just come in this hole, so it come in the hole because every way it done saggy, and then the excess start to swell up in the middle. You understand? That's what's happening when you have continuous rainfall, like we get in now 1 week, going into 2 weeks, going into 3 weeks. So that the mass bail out the pit, and then the pit dry. But a small water for what? Because you want the minerals. It's not so cheap. Your pit dry, you want to start working. It's not so. But the land still soggy and saturated. And guess what you're going to do? What my friend call it? Running sand. You understand? You have the unstable forces have now changed that sand that would not have moved in dry season. That once you hit it with the jet at the bottom, which it's got to do for break the facing, you tell yourself that it's going to break like normal. It's not so like when it's dry season, but no. It will break and it will rush onto you. The distance that you would have stand up normally from this facing, on the normal condition, you continue to stand up at that same distance, which in rainy reason you should come back more far. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? You have to come back more far. Or, instead of mining the same height of the bench, you have to reduce the height of the bench. So if in normal dry season you're working a bench that is, 15 feet to 20 feet, when you see it start to rain, brother, don't work a 15 to 20 feet bench. Cut it in half. You understand why you have to cut it in half? Because if you maintain the same bench, it's not the same sand like before. It's a different sand you're looking at now. It's a mad sand. It's a mad sand you're dealing with now. You understand? There's a dead sand. There's not the normal sand. The rain changed the type, the vexation of the sand. So you got to now either go farther away, and obviously going farther away don't make sense because of your pressure in your jet. That is why you have to cut in half the bench. Some people don't see that. And they will say, so why you got to cut it in half? We just walk like this all the time. And that's why people just die. Because they will continue what they're accustomed to, but they don't understand the changes that would have occurred with consistent rainfall like we've been having day after day after day after day. That is what caused, check anytime they have a major pit failure, is when they had about 5 to 6 days of rain fall in the area, then something does happen. But I tell you, not no. Because I don't pass wrong for you. You know what I know? I don't pass wrong for you. And you're not vexed with me. Right? I mean, some of y'all are already vexed with me, but you're going to see now the reason why I did what I had to do. Like I had my video and I had to tell them, man, well, they can't do certain things. You understand? And I said, I want in this class because I want them to understand that this thing is not about me like Vinod. This thing is about I want people to be alive. You understand? Vinod may not have understood why I said, man, don't do this. Because he's not an engineer. And he might have experience in mining, long years. And he might have mined and never had what happened to him. But like I said, the material can change its soul energy, its soul characteristic due to water. Consistent amount of water. And that we must consider. Okay? So running sand, like my friend said, you stand up 60 feet. Why you always stand up 60 feet? Because the sand must be running. If you, and like he said, the water just gotta touch the facing and it break the wall. What do you say? Exactly.
The pressure goes to the jet man, and there are all these miners in there who have experience with it. 1/3 of people die in miners in the jet man. Most of them out there miners over from the face.
Fair enough, fair enough. But one is
secure. Not but there, one secure, you could secure the mark. How much knowledge you got to do?
Huh?
What system invest now to secure the mark now so far away than the jet man?
To secure the mark?
Most of the course soldiers die in mark now, they're still at the back of the jet man over 100 feet away. And the jet man clear.
Well, the mark man dies because he's in a hole.
Mark man sometimes they're even there 4 feet hole.
And also, one of the things why you might find that a mark man dies because they're right under the engine. The engine there right next to you, see you hearing nothing? No, man. If a man listening to the song, the engine song every day, you know you could actually affect your hearing? No? I tell you yes. You then listen, if you're pressing the wood and revving the engine all the time and driving the engine every day for 260 days in a year, you just get accustomed to listening to the engine. Try calling a Marak man. Right? Try calling a Marak man. You have a holla, you go in front of you and wave or something so he could hear you because the sound of the engine could be affecting his ability to hear you. So look, what I'm saying is that safe mining distance is important. And we have to develop a system, like you rightly hinted, whereby all of the players in the pit can quickly be alerted if there was an emergency. Some suggested you have some leash that you can use to connect people to the outside of the pit, so that in case something starts to fail, they can either be pulled, because one thing that happens when a pit covers down is you don't know where exactly the people get covered down. And sometimes that digging or not knowing exactly where to dig can cause a delay, and it can even cause the person to really and truly suffocating. Come on, might come down, you might be able to get a little pocket of air to hold you for another 2 minutes. 2 minutes is critical time. If a man got a hip chain with some good sturdy, broad, bright colored cement strap kind of material that can identify him where he is, and it's connected to some tree or some peg on the ground upstairs. If an emergency happens, then you can pull, you know, this man is here, and everybody go right there and start to, at least everybody know where the man is. I'm saying there are many possibilities, but what I'm saying, it can help because it can lead you to a more targeted area for a search. Alright? So it's something that has to be looked at as how we can probably devise a plan to quickly identify where to look for a rescue operation. It might cost you $1 million more to bring your mind sight into full compliance. Obviously you're not, we know. Okay? And the purpose of coming to the mining school is for you to understand why you should do it. It's not about, okay, do it or else I shut you down, which is enforcement. Here is empowerment. You understand? You'll get to appreciate the why. Why must I invest in 10 more drum of diesel and clean up the bench and, you know, make sure it's no more than 15 feet and I got 25 feet width? Why? The why is that, one, not far from now, if you have been following the newspaper, with Minister Brooms being in charge of a compliance unit, being in charge of the mining school, being in charge of the GGMC, being in charge of everything, and y'all know who's Minister Brooms, right? She will come out in, right? She will come out in these backgrounds, and the level of enforcement is going to be up. Take note. Wake up. It's up. It's going to be up. Okay? Okay? So let's start from that. Now you know the level of enforcement is going to be up. Just do the right thing so that you then do right. So that you can continue to work without anybody got to come and say, well, stop working, fix this up in, don't worry. You know, I must compliment Alfonso, GM. He's here? You represented him, no? Okay. A big man. What's your name again? He's Alfonso too, no?
Brother.
Is he brother? When I came in October last year, no, December, he went wrong, real wrong. Everybody in Whitehall went wrong. Jeremy went wrong, he went wrong, all three. The only person I checked was you. So I was told, but I didn't get to check you because it was night. And then when I come back, I checked you and I see a lot of whitish. I'll check you back again. But the thing is, I just tell the big man, you know, why this thing is. When I came back, I was pleasantly surprised to see the man doing everything that I explained to him to do. Because the man realized that, you know what, I just want him to work and get me work done. He said, you know, we have planned to do just what you're saying. It's just that we haven't do it yet. So what we did is to make the focus on stripping the weight off the land at the top, rolling back for us, so as to prevent the material from sliding down. And then you'll come down, you'll open it up. Good. Create safety. Create longevity for your operation. If you know you're stickling in this operation for the past 6 months, and you might be stickling there for another 6 months to another 12 months, make sure that you're there. Don't cut short yourself. Alright? That's one of the reasons why you should do your benches and make sure things are in order. The other one is that if you cause life to be lost, listen to me. When material fail and collapse, people can die. A man might trip and fall down with the hose, he get covered down, he could die. When you get a dead man on your hand, with this new level of enforcement, you're going to get a harder sting than before. It's not going to be, and you get off with it. There are some serious lawyers that are going to be enforcing certain regulation. There's a compliance unit being set up by the Ministry of Natural Resources. These people are going to become with special powers to prosecute you in court. You know what I tell you? So when you see a man get covered down, and this man is your responsibility, you gotta be very, very scared as to what really the government will do with respect to you. Being straight up. You understand? Because they now having a policy that they must put the pressure upon anybody who make people die in the operation. Let me put it like that. Right? And they want to make you like an example so that others will come into compliance and do the right thing. Let me talk straight on. And you know that too. Right? So best you get away from all of that and do invest in the 10 drum of diesel. That's all it takes. That's all it might take to pull your bench, your working face in operation. And you don't have to fix your whole mine one time. If you're walking the eastern wall, fix the eastern wall. When you move away from the eastern wall and you walk to the western wall, make sure the western wall is well benched. And you can build your mine in stages. You understand me? Nobody tell you want to invest in the whole $100 million for fix up a perfect house just to sell up a fruity. Right? Fix your mining phase where there is potential for a risk of failure happening that can cause loss of life or so to happen. And when we inspect it, we will know where exactly it needs to be fixed. You can't determine that. You can't tell me, well, I work in school so, and therefore I only looking after so. No. I gotta tell you, fix up, and based on my understanding, here is too close, so fix it too. Sometimes if the wall on this side is far away compared to where you will be located, then I can say, okay, fix this zone here because this is your active zone. And then we're going to start using caution tape so that you can say, well, this here is caution out. You're not working here, nobody should be going in this area here. That's how I tell you. Lock off certain parts of your mind that people mustn't go in that side. Okay? And these are the things we want to do. Practical steps. We are coming for give you hillbilly talk that isn't practical. We come with practical steps and recommendations that you can implement. Okay? And it is possible.